that's where I was listening to this going like, you wonder why people are scared of salespeople. Like, you wonder why. You wonder why the horse is afraid of a human until that trust is built. You wonder why Jess Babington does the amount of transactions that she does just without even thinking, and people are just coming into her. Well, that is the relationship that she's built of incredible trust with her people. Welcome back to Life at 10/10, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. Matt Bonelli is with myself, Garrett Fry, and we are back with you again. Thank you for joining us. And today we're going to jump right into communication is our number one tool. I think as growing a business, we always look, Matt, at all these things we can sign up for and subscribe to, and this is going to make us stand out better, and this is what's going to make us have that extra sale this year and bump ourselves to the next level. And very rarely do we focus on communication skills. And I was watching a video this morning, I was wasting time, and this video came up talking about human relationships with horses and training horses and the verbal breakdown where we don't have that ability of having an in-depth conversation with a horse and saying, hey, I need you to do this. It's all based on trust. And it's based on, body movements and energy that we're putting off. And it's a fascinating video, but it got me thinking about how much that crosses over into these brand new relationships that we have a lot of times, working with somebody that needs our help. We're trying to build a business at the same time. And how are we communicating with these people to make them feel safe so that they can move forward, they can accomplish what they need to accomplish, and we can get to where we want to go? And I think a lot of times it's lost. So I want to talk about this with you today, Matt. Hopefully everybody else enjoys it out there. But good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I'm pumped, man. You sent that video over to me, and what was interesting that stood out to me was it said, like, we speak English, right? Horses don't talk, and he's like, but we come in and just assume that like animals need to communicate the way we do, right?
Yep.
But they communicate all off body language and presence and things like that. And I was thinking about how we communicate as humans as well. Is sometimes we can speak the same language, but we're not actually communicating. And kind of timely for us to do this because we also are reading this book here, John Maxwell's Everyone Communicates and Few Connect. We do these monthly book readings inside our 11 circle, not inside the 11 circle, inside the 10/10 starter membership. So guys, if you're podcast listeners and you're like, hey, how can I get a little bit extra from Matt and Garrett? We have a really cool Monday mindset and book insights that we do inside our starter membership just for $10 a month. So you can go check that out. But I was also thinking, Garrett, like when we connect with people and as we're going through this book, like we say things, but it's not always communicated, right?
Yeah.
We're not always connecting with somebody who's understanding, but we assume that we do. And this happens all the time in business.
Well, if you think about how many times have you walked down the street, have you been in an environment where you haven't said anything to somebody, you haven't said any words at all, but you can tell the energy that's coming off of them. You can sense the energy that's coming. I mean, it's like we give this to this horse-person relationship, horse-human relationship. But at the end of the day, like we as humans do this all the time. We are passing energy back and forth by how we hold ourselves, by how we present ourselves, by, when we show up into an environment. You can sense when somebody walks into a room and you're like, they're not supposed to be here, or their energy is not in good form. Like this is not a comfortable thing. I was at a restaurant here a while back where somebody walked in. And it was funny, the whole restaurant, it wasn't that they were dirty, it wasn't that they were unkept, it wasn't that there was something that was like, it was just an energy that made everybody stop and go, something's off. Like this person shouldn't be here. They're not here for the right intentions. Yeah. And sure enough, there was a energy that was not pretty. Like they were mad about something that had happened outside. They brought it in the restaurant. All of a sudden the servers were like, why don't we go talk outside for a second? And got these people out of that environment, this guy out of the environment. It's like, he didn't really say anything up front, but we all knew it. We knew something was off. And I think this happens more and more often. And this was what got me thinking, Matt, to like, as we watch people building and growing businesses, there are the ones, like we just interviewed Jess Babington, that has like people coming in all over the place going, hey, can you help me with real estate? And then you have other people that are going like, I just need a sale. I just need to get a sale right now. I just need to make something come together. And you look at them and you go, okay, what is the different energy that are coming off these two people? And even without having to speak the words of, I'm just here to help you and I need a sale, like you can feel that. Like it's a different energy coming off this situation. And I think that's where this horse thing resonated with me so much that I was like, oh my gosh, this happens every single day to all of us.
It does. And that energy translates into our tonality when we speak. And if we're talking to a prospective client, or even if we're just talking to people who are in our world and we want to, maybe display some influence in our profession, we want to be seen as the realtor of choice, right? The tonality of how we say things is so important. I mean, as we communicate, 7% of communication is our words, right? Yep. Just 7%. 38% goes into the tonality and how we say it and how people feel when we say it. And then the 55% is that body language, how people view us and see us as we're saying those things. But the tonality is really important because that's where confidence lives too, Garrett. And I find, particularly when you watch people with animals, the people who are able to manage horses, or there was I think this was in John's book. I'm like now mixing up YouTube videos and books, but they were talking about communicating with like Shamu, killer whales, right? Your words are not going to do much with that. Your tone and how you present yourself is going to be it. And you need to be confident when you're communicating with these animals, because if they sense fear, like they're either like what they were saying in this video, horses are kind of prey animals, so they'll just get more scared, right? Or for predator animals, they'll smell blood in the water and they'll be like, oh, I'm totally going to own you now, right?
Okay, so let's take that element of it, because this is where I got really excited about the video, is that here you have a horse, and he describes as a horse being a prey animal, wakes up every morning going, my number one job is to survive today. Like, that's my job. I am not at the top of the food chain, or maybe I am. I'm not at the top of the predator chain. I might be food for somebody. So their whole thing is like, I need to be safe out here. That's my number one thing, is safety and making it through this day so I can survive and live another day. Humans don't go through that. Like, that's not our number one thing, is how am I going to be alive at the end of the day? We're in a very different class of,
like, how am I going to eat? How am I going to do this? Like, how am I going to go hunt for something today? Right?
Exactly. So I sort of think about that. So in a sales relationship, you have somebody that needs to sell a house, or somebody that needs to move to a next part of their life. They are in a situation of being very vulnerable. They got a lot of moving parts. They're confused about how to make it all happen. They're not really sure about, am I going to make it through this safely? What are all the dangers that are around me that I don't even know or understand? And then you have Mr. Salesperson that comes in, who has their beautiful business plan written out about how many sales they're going to get for the year, how much commission they're going to make, all these things of, I'm going to make more money this year than I made last year. And they look at this person, pray, and they go, here's my next sale. And it's the same relationship that can happen with that horse. And that's where I was listening to this going, like, you wonder why people are scared of salespeople. Like, you wonder why. You wonder why the horse is afraid of a human until that trust is built. You wonder why Jess Babington does the amount of transactions that she does just without even thinking, and people are just coming into her. Well, that is the relationship that she's built of incredible trust with her people, compared to these others that are literally in this prey-predator relationship. And this is why I think it's like, Matt, how fast can we break that down? How fast can you look at that and go, oh, crap, I am the predator, and these are the prey out here, and how can I change that relationship? I think it should be a piece of everybody's business plan moving forward right now, is like, how do I break down those barriers so I am not the predator and they are not the prey, but I can help them, just like an amazing horse trainer. I don't know if anybody's ever seen somebody work with a horse, take a wild horse and help them become an animal that is domesticated and feels safe. It is not by trying to conquer the animal. The animal will win if you try to conquer them.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely will. And by the way, if you're looking for the Jess Babington episode, just wait until January 6th and you will hear that one. But I think it's going to be January 6th.
Oh, that's right. We're gonna do it as maybe a little bit out of order. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we're flipping things around. But Garrett, you bring up a really good point, and I think there's an important question that we should ask, but we need to ask it from the other side's point of view. Because when we're going into these sales situations, a lot of times, yeah, we are coming into it, and it's and this is where confidence works on both sides. Because if like you're confident as a predator and you're like, man, I'm going to go get this sale, but you have commission breath still coming through, it's like, okay, you may be confident, but you're going to push your person away, right? And you're going to build a sales wall. Whereas you can be confident and calm and help somebody. And so the questions we need to ask on the other side of this is from the perspective of the consumer or the client, is they're really asking the question, can this person help me? Can this person help me? And a lot of times we go in to be like, man, yes, I can help them. I'm going to shove all these features in their face and tell them why I'm so good. But that doesn't answer that question for them. Rarely, I will say it can, because if we don't get that answer from someone else, our brain will do its best to connect the dots and say, okay, well, they said all these features. I need this benefit. I'll draw the connection there, right? A lot of times we'll do that. But the best way to highlight if you can help somebody is to showcase the benefits. So you have to first understand, what do they truly need help with? And that's all questions and pre-conversation and all the stuff that we always talk about. But then once you understand that, saying, okay, here's the benefits. Like, yes, we have global reach. We're going to take photos and we're going to do all these things. And here's the benefit of that. Like, because you said you needed to sell your home in a week, this reach is going to help us access as many buyers as possible so that we can get as many eyeballs on your listing as soon as possible so that we can get this house sold as quickly as you are looking to have it sold. That's the benefit. Global reach is the feature, but if we just stop there, it's like, okay, cool. Like, that sounds great. But that's where if you're having these conversations and you feel like, why don't they get it? They don't get it because you're not connecting. You're not fully communicating to them in this way. And that is, I think, the Garrett, where we start to shift from, okay, the predator mindset to the, how do I help this person mindset?
So it's interesting. So in my time of working with people and training and helping people get to helping a lot of people in the business, usually if I go back to, there was a time that I was using, it was like a 7-page buyer interview. It was really in depth. I mean, like, if we brought this back out right now, most people, when I would show it to them, they would be like, I'm not doing that to my buyers. Like, I'm not going to sit them down and ask all these questions and put them through all this, And it was funny, is the ones that actually took the time to do it, and it took time, and a lot of it was not real estate related at all. It was a lot of like people's hopes and dreams and ambitions of where they want to go and what their life looks like and the things that are, important outside of just this buying the next house. At the end of it, every single time, the agent would come back to me and say, the comment that my client said was, I've never had anybody take this much time to get to know who I am, where I'm at, and what I'm trying to accomplish. Never have had somebody do it. And they said that was the number one thing that the actual client said, I'm working with you. Like, I'm in. Like, we're whatever you tell me what we got to do, where we got to go. And I think that trust level built up front. And this goes back to with the horse. Like, we have a ranch outside of town. We have horses on it. I don't go and ever attempt to ride one of those horses. This is our ranch hand's horses. He is the one that is like managing all that stuff. And he's the one that goes out there and will jump on any of those horses. His son is a professional bull rider and a professional bronco rider. I have seen one of those horses lose their mind in the stall, and he will jump on it and calm it down and like make sure that it's okay. And they work with those animals. It's amazing to watch the trust level of when one of those horses gets scared, that one of them can walk over and actually calm the animal down and they're not sitting there going, it's going to be okay. Snowflake, you're going to be fine. I don't know why you snowflake.
Calm down.
But like, just, take it easy. But it's one of those things it's their body, it's their energy that they come to that horse with. And they can even come to that horse quickly and fast moving and approach it. But it's because of their intention behind their actions. The horse goes, okay, I'm safe. I'm going to settle down now. I'm good. And I think it's a skill you've got to learn and you've got to grow with, and you need to have an intention behind, I want to get better at this. Nobody just walks out of their morning and going like, I'm going to be okay and train horses. Like I'm going to have this as a skill set. Like it is something you learn. You learn from masters above you that say, okay, here's how you want to approach a horse. Here's how you want to put your head. Here's how you want to make eye contact. Here's how you want to put your hands. Don't do this. Don't come running at them with your hands up like this. Like having them down by your side. And I'm making this up. I'm not skilled at this right now with training horses. But there are things that you learn. And I think that as you start to build your business and you're working with buyers and you're working with sellers, there are subtle skills, subtle things you should be doing up front that will completely change the working relationship moving forward. But so many of us have this, I'm going to train this horse. I'm going to break this horse. I'm going to make this horse I'm going to put a saddle on this horse by the end of the day. Like I'm going to get it. And they force it through and they wonder why this horse hates them and is running away from every single time they step into the stable. Where the same thing with our sellers and our buyers is that we wonder why do I keep going on these listing presentations and nobody's signing up with me. I'm not getting any of these. Why am I meeting with these buyers and nobody's moving forward with me? I'm like, well, they probably think you're trying to kill them every single time. They probably think you're literally trying to make a sale. And when I say a kill, like it's like there's a lot of people out there. A lot of salespeople that is their goal, is to make a kill for the day. Was it today's successful day? I made a kill. Excellent. Like winning. It's like, well, you might be pushing away more people than you think.
Well, and if you do have success in that realm, you have to really go and analyze that and be like, what was that connection like? What benefits were there? How did that become safe? Was there just a really good personality match? Because there's no way that you just won over that person, particularly in real estate, right? This isn't like, okay, like I'll buy your widget just to get you away from me kind of thing, right? Like that's not going to happen with real estate sales. And, Garrett, you were talking about learning because you're saying like, I don't know this, or just like, I haven't learned this or applied it, but you knew these things, right? You're not good at it. And I think that's where people need to apply so they can truly learn, because learning is the adjustment in a behavior given the same stimulus essentially, right? So if you're getting the same result out of the same actions, then we haven't learned anything, even though maybe you have new knowledge, right? So if people are listening to this right now, they're like, yeah, maybe I am a little aggressive and I need to better answer that question of how can I be of service to this person? Go practice that, right? Go grab a colleague and have some practicing conversations, because that's how you're going to truly learn through application so that you can actually impact a different outcome. Because if you're stressed and you're nervous, you're probably going to default back to the way that you've always done it, right? Because when we're nervous, like, let me just go back to what's comfortable for me, right? Because you could have salesperson and client meeting in a conversation. Both of them have this internal mechanism saying, this is dangerous. So salesperson defaults to, I just got to do what like I think works, which is aggressive and feature overload. Client goes, oh, this is dangerous. I need to just shut down until I can feel safe. And it just never happens. And this is where it's like, it's not your fault. You just haven't practiced enough so that you can apply what you know, so you can truly learn and change the behavior, so you can affect a different outcome through that conversation.
So I think it's an interesting thing too to pay attention to, that if I wanted to go learn those skills, Matt, like if I really wanted to get good at like, how can I work with a horse? So Randy's our ranch hand. And if I went to Randy, and by the way, if you want to see the toll of being a ranch hand and being a bull rider takes on your body, you should come talk to our ranch hand. Poor Randy is broken and bruised as like a 60-year-old gentleman that is just
and probably strong as anything.
Oh, he is strong as an ox, and his body is just beaten. I was walking behind him the other day, and I'm like, Randy, how long have you been on a horse for? Because he had that like the legs kind of like in that bow-legged shape, just like strutting through the yard. But it's interesting. If I went to Randy and I said, Randy, can you teach me how to communicate with a horse? I don't think he'd be able to put it into words. And I think this is the interesting thing of a lot of the masters that are around us, is that we can follow them all day long saying, teach me, teach me, teach me. Tell me how you do this stuff. And the best thing that I can do is go into it with a learning mindset and say, Randy, can I hang around you for a week or so here on the property and just mirror you and watch you and work with you and the horses. Because there's going to be things that I'm going to do and he's going to be like, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that around a horse. Like, I might pick something up off the ground and move quickly with it. And he'd be like, that is a natural fear that horses have. Don't do that to them. And I know that because I've done stuff like that around the ranch and I've learned little things. Don't know it all, but I know some stuff. So I think that like in our ability of wanting to become better and better communicators is I think that, yes, there's lots of experts out there that can say, just do this, just ask these questions, just show up in this way. And I think the true masters actually aren't able to put it into words. You need to watch them and you need to learn from them and you need to follow them and you need to be around them in their environment. And I think it's the best way to learn. But you got to be really open to paying attention. Like that is not something that you're just going to go pick up a book or go talk to somebody or go take a class and be like, oh, I learned the new things about how I'm going to talk to people to be able to get them to move forward and be able to buy more homes and sell more homes. And like, I've got the tools. It's not the way it's going to work. Like you really need to go and learn truly in the environment and see how it works. And I don't think there's enough opportunities out there maybe to do that in a lot of our industry. And the true masters kind of accidentally find themselves in those situations and around those people.
Well, I think that's why longevity plays a big factor in like your success in real estate. And it's also why I think scripts, while they can be useful, right? If you have zero knowledge, you're like, oh, these questions are better to ask. Great. But remember, if communication is only 7% the words that we use, then the scripts are only going to get you so far. Yeah. How you show up and how you converse with them and how you navigate through them. That's why it's like, gosh, whenever we would go to a training with Larry Kendall, people would be like, gosh, he's just a master, right? It's like, because he's been doing it for 50 years. Like, yeah, of course he's a master. He's practiced it. He's also stood up in front of the room and shared that. And it's like, if you put that energy into how you communicate, practicing your dialogues, you too will have that smoothness so that when it comes off, like, it's like, oh gosh, like, yeah. Because how you say something to someone, Garrett, I mean, I see it all the time. You can have two people go into the same situation and the client chooses one realtor over the other, even though they can say the same thing. And it all comes down to how they say it and the energy that they bring to the table when they do it.
Yeah, and I think there's just that energy, as a lot of it is just, it's authenticity. It's totally nonverbal. It is just this sense of, I feel safe with this person. Their intentions are right. And I love that you brought up the percentages of, what is actual, the words we use to, then we have the tonality to, then we have this body language. And a lot of that we don't even realize is our body language says so much about us. And that is something that very rarely we pay attention to. When you're talking about like learning scripts and things like that, we are on the opposite end of the spectrum with the thing that actually communicates the least with people. But we're trying to focus so hard on these scripts over here where it's like, no. There's so much more that I need to work on when it comes to my body language and my tonality, because that changes everything that we're about to go do. And then I was thinking we're continuing to keep this on the path of horses for a second, like a script in the arena might be like, here, Garrett, here's a whip. And you're going to need to use this to kind of move the animals around this area here. Now, in my mind, I maybe go like, oh, I'm supposed to whip the horses when I want them to actually go where I want them to go. Where Randy might go, don't ever hit the horse. Ever. It's meant to snap over here to create an energy where they go, okay, I need to move away from that. I just need to move them over here. So we snap it over here, they move over there. Oh, we're not supposed to hit the horse with it. Okay, thanks. Like, I've got this great script. I've got this thing, but unless my intention and my energy of how to use it is correct, like, it doesn't mean a damn thing. I could totally have it backfire on me very quickly by just not understanding the intention of how I'm supposed to use it. And I think that there's just a lot here behind the scenes and understanding what's going on. And that's what I got so fascinated by this video this morning, Matt, because that's why I wanted to bring it to you and bring it to everybody out here, because I think that relationship of the prey and the predator, you need to understand that underlying can show up very quickly in any type of selling relationship. And then you wonder why people push away from salespeople so much. Matt, you and I wonder why we have so many people that are like, if anything, I just don't want to show up like a salesperson. Well, what you don't want to show up is like a predator. That's actually what you're afraid of. And I appreciate that, by the way. And let's see if we can tone that down. And that's what Matt, you and I, focus has been for many years now, is how do we take that predator prey situation out of the game?
Yeah, exactly. And it works when you start to meet people where they're at, which that should be the biggest takeaway that you get out of this episode is meet people where they're at, just like you meet a horse where they're at. You don't go and try to say, hey, horse, I'm human. Listen to me because I'm telling you this. Horse is hearing.
We should do a video, Matt, where I go out to the arena and like try to like approach a horse the one way, just like grabbing the reins and just ripping them around the arena and see how it goes. And then do one where we actually have like Randy go and approach a horse and like move him around the.
Get a shot of you getting kicked by a horse if you do that.
Haven't had it happen yet. Might be something new. You know what? There's part of experiences in life that you should be able to check off of like, I've lived life. I've had that happen. Kicked by a horse. I don't want that on my list.
For a video, that's for sure.
I don't want it on my list.
Oh man. So meet people where they're at, understand where they're sitting, the shoes that they're in, all the analogies that you can apply to that.
That's a horse thing also. Good job.
Yeah. And you guys will see success. So, and practice this stuff too, right? Make sure you're practicing this, show up with confidence. It's going to be all great. Right. And, so that's awesome, Garrett. I'm glad that you shared that video this morning. It was really interesting. Like, hey, you sent me this video. You will like this. And I watched. I'm like, that is good. And I'm like, how timely, because we're reading this book by John Maxwell right now about connecting in building on top of that communication. So really awesome, man. Thanks for bringing that topic. And guys, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode and all the episodes. And if you guys want more, if you want to like get into some of the weeds of this stuff that we talk about, we actually have a live coaching program where every single week, Garrett and I show up and we work through with you guys questions that you have. We work through frameworks. We bring on guests to talk about their expertise in areas of marketing and sales, communication. We just did a health one, which is really awesome. So come check out the 11 Circle. That's our coaching program. You can get a 7-day free trial at lifeat10tense.com and see if it's something that works for you, get some value out of it, see if you like it. And if you're not ready for something like that and you guys want to support the podcast and hear more, grab the starter membership. That's, an easy way to get into our world, be on our platform, get a Monday mindset every single week, get the book insights. So we're going to be talking a lot more about communication. Actually, technically, at the release of this podcast, we've now already talked about the book. At the time of recording this podcast, we have not yet finished reading the book.
If you're keeping a timeline, you just
so welcome to the future from the past.
There you
go. Is that how that works? Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Well, and with the starter membership, for a lot of people who are listening to this, like Matt and I do this out of the love of our heart doing this podcast. And I know for a lot of you, stepping up into a coaching program and doing all that is not necessarily on the books for you, or it may not be something you want to do. But if you want to support us by the starter membership, that is greatly appreciated. It's a little thing that helps kind of keep us going to be able to show up and do this stuff over and over and over again. We love it.
Help us take care of some of the back end. We're always looking for ways we can enhance kind of the audio experience and the viewing experience if you're on YouTube, right? Because we're new in the YouTube space, but we're really happy to be there. So if you are on YouTube, go like, subscribe, comment, share, hit the bell, do all the YouTube things. I'm not even used to talking about that stuff, but I'm sure it'll soon flow out with that confidence. See, like right there, it's not like the confidence of like an Alex Hormozy or somebody like that, but hey, we're getting there. But really appreciate you guys so much. Appreciate you being a part of our world. We got more awesome content coming your way. We got another great episode coming up, and look out for that interview with Jess Babington coming up in a couple weeks. It's a really, really good one. So appreciate you, Garrett. Appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.